What's good, everyone? My name is Ruth, and welcome to Huddle Stories, where we uncover the untold stories by our Malaysian athletes. So today, we have a renowned badass athlete that is not only known in the mixed martial arts world, but also in the Spartan world. Who is she? She is the first Malaysian ever to win the Asian Championship in the IMMAF competition, and is also a Spartan pro who won the C Championship series. Best of both worlds? Who is she? Let's find out. You guessed it right. Here with us is Colleen Augustin. Wow, girl, I've never met someone who's so multi-talented that has dominated both the MMA world as well as the Spartan world. Like how? How do you achieve such feats?
I guess I would say I'm very blessed that I have a family that supports me in doing whatever sport that I wish to do. I'm quite blessed that I've been given so many opportunities to compete and to be part of both of these sports. I think that's mostly what it is. That opportunity presented itself, and having that supportive foundation, it made me feel like I didn't need to worry about anything. I'll be like, okay, if I want to do this, I'm just gonna do it. Having that foundation that just was like, you can do this. Like I've never been told I couldn't do something, so I was like, okay, let's do it. And I think having that a bit of a crazy mindset that was like, you know what, let's just try, let's just have fun, just to see how it goes. I think having that helps a lot too.
Now, speaking of family, I heard that you have a family of athletes. It seems like it's part of your DNA. Was that the reason why you joined sports, and how it has influenced your view on sports?
I think definitely my family was a huge role. My mom used to be a sprinter in high school. My dad used to be a boxer in the military. My brother fights Muay Thai right now, and he's a personal trainer. And growing up, we were always told to be fit, to be healthy. That health was the most important thing. That playing sports and all that was also a very important aspect in our lives. Like they never neglected it. Even when I was playing basketball competitively in primary school, they were like, it's good you're playing. I want you to play. Keep doing it, but you also need to make sure your studies are in order. Like it makes complete sense. So they've always been like, okay, if you want to pick something up, sure. When I wanted to pick up dancing, they were like, go ahead. When I want to pick up martial art, they were like, go ahead. So I think having that was really definitely made a huge impact on my life. That now even if I'm not training, I'm off. Like, let's say I just finished fighting, I still feel the urge to at least be walking around, doing something, like just being healthy in general. Like, it's become part of my life.
Wow, they're really, really supportive. That's really, really nice to hear. And with your dad being a boxer in military and your brother being in Muay Thai as well, do you guys train together? On have they been involved in your professional fights in terms of training and stuff like that?
I think right now I'm still I'm yet to be a professional fighter. I'm still amateur. um, my For my brother, yes, I do train with him a lot. He comes to every single one of my fights if I can bring him, especially if it's overseas. He always helps me out when I need guidance when it comes to, let's say, I'm lifting weights and I need some form guidance, or in Muay Thai, if I need extra pad work, I'll ask him to help me out to hold pads for me. And my dad and my mom, it's mostly more of a supportive background aspect where they will watch my fights and everything, support me, and then they will come back and tell me, hey, you did good, but did you see that you missed this out and all that. So I get that feedback too. I think that's like I so my brother technically now is the only person I kind of really train with, because he does Muay Thai and I do Muay Thai. So we train, we spar together sometimes as well, and we just have a lot of fun. Like we just have a lot of fun just sparring with each other. And even in class, the coach also knows that we will be weird and we'll just play around, do fancy kicks and stuff that we'll never do in fights, but we'll just do it with with each other. And I think like it's great because I feel like I bonded so much with him, like being able to do that and having him in my corner always really like helps a lot, because when you're fighting in your corner, you want people that you really trust wholeheartedly, because you could be freaking out so much. When you have that person that's there that you trust with anything, when you're freaking out and you talk to them, it's like, okay, everything's gonna be okay now. And you have a sounding board and everything like that, because you can't have anything before you go into a fight. So having him in my corner, like, uh, takes off the pressure like quite a lot too. So for me, like, yeah.
Wow, that's super cool though. I mean, having a brother to train with, and basically you can train the whole day because you have your sparring partner with you all the time, which
Yeah,
is great.
yeah.
So, okay, because like going back to the part where your dad's an ex-military, how was your childhood like? Because I mean, I feel like you're the most grittiest person I've ever met. Like you're so strong, and you have that grit going on. How was that like?
I think my dad is ex-military, yes, but he's also very religious in a sense, because we're Catholic, we're born and raised Catholics, and he's always had the mindset of like the best of both worlds. So he will bring us up really like, love, compassion is important, respect one another, love one another as you love yourself, everything, all that, and always seek to understand before being understood. All that stuff. And but at the same time, he also brought us up to be able to be independent. That being independent doesn't only mean that we are loners, that it's okay to seek help when needed, but in a sense where we could basically um, pick ourselves up in the worst situations, where growing up it was like, let's say, we were kids, we will fall down, like learning how to ride a bike, you're gonna fall down. You learn how to roller skating, you're gonna fall down. All these things are gonna happen. And I remember what he used to tell us was, he asked us was, are you okay? That's the first thing. And he would remain completely calm, and he said, are you okay? And I'll be like, I think so. And then he'll like, okay, what hurts then? And he'll check, and we'll see like, okay, it's just a cut here or whatever it is. And he's like, can you move? I'm like, yes, I can move my hands, I can move my legs. He's like, can you walk? And it's like, yes, I can. So once you establish that like you can move, it means you're kind of okay. You can walk means you're basically quite okay. He's like, say, then stand back up, let's check. And then we kept walking. So I think unconsciously it really built us up to have that, if you fall down, it's okay, just stay calm, check and assess the situation, stand up, get back up again, look what the issue is, and then try again, or just like fix the wounds and all that. Because sometimes he would say like, do you want to try again, like get back on that bike and stuff, and I'll be like, no, let me try another time, and be like, it's okay. Or if I wanted to get back up again, then he'll help me get back up again. So I think having that, it was just kind of like, it's okay for you to fall. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to get hurt. You stand back up and you can try again whenever you're ready. So I think like that built that kind of foundation, that um, we learned that sometimes failing is okay. Not that it's a bad thing. It's just that failing is okay. That you learn from it, but as long as you try again. So I think having that is was really good. And of course, I think like other things probably from the military was like, he used to teach us so many things. Like he used to, my mom and dad were always like, you have to learn how to ride a bike. You also need to learn how to drive a car. And like you have to, like it is like a no choice for me. Like there are certain things in life, they were like, these two things you guys need to learn. You don't have to ride, you don't have to drive, but you have to know how to do it. And they were also like, you have to, my dad used to teach us how to use knives sometimes as well, for survival, just in case. He,
Wow.
yeah, he used to teach us a lot of things. Like if we wanted to learn a bow and arrow, they would send us for classes. My dad used to have a crossbow, and we were kids, and he actually taught us how to use it.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and
amazing.
even brought us to a gun range. It's like you guys don't have to have guns, but at least you know how to use it in case anything happens. So having that, I think my dad being in the military, it's always if this happens, you have a backup. If this happens, you're backup. It's like yes, there is a 2% chance it's gonna happen. But if that 2% chance actually like happens, you're more than ready to face it, that sort of thing. So it was like all our lives, it was more of a I'm preparing you for life. I'm preparing you for every single scenario. I mean, just like the military, you have so many plans. If this fails, you have another one. So I think he used that, and it was like a lot of like, here, this plan A, plan B, plan C. Okay, if this scenario happens, you do this. If this scenario happens, you do that. And I think like it helped us a lot growing up because it was like we were more confident with ourselves, knowing that okay, if this happens, we know what to do. We won't need to panic. We won't need to freak out. It was more like everything was already set. Like there was a base. It's like a fighting when you have a game plan. Scenario A, if she tries to punch you in the face, you do this. If this doesn't work, you go to plan B. If this doesn't work, you go to plan C. So that's basically what it is. He gave us a game plan for life, for any scenario.
Wow. Wow. I mean, it is very important. I mean, everything that you do in life, it all, it is all experience. And like you said, it's like a game plan, right? You're always planning your next step. And having that experience, I mean, that would have definitely built your mental strength. Like you said, like, you learn so many skills. When you fall down, you just have to get back up. And I'm pretty sure that actually helped you a lot in your MMA journey as well, because, you're going to get tapped out like what, five, I don't know, by more higher belts. Like in 5 minutes, you get tapped out like 10
Yeah.
times. And you just have to keep getting back up, right? It's crazy. And speaking of that, I heard that you are like practically the only girl in fighters training. You train with such profound fighters in ONE FC as well as Mima. How is that like? I mean, you're like the only girl, and in terms of physicality, in terms of mental strength, how do you do that?
Um, at the time when we still had fighter training, all that, we had like one or two girls that would pass by. Like they would come in for a few months and then like they had whatever it is work and then they would disappear for a while. We had girls passing through too because I think because I was there, they let some professional girls pass through and train with us as well. But mainly like yeah, it was mostly me and the rest of them. And honestly, it was really good actually. Like I wasn't sure I was gonna fit in because I was the smallest one there before. Later on, there was a guy that was the same size as me.
Oh, that's
But
like the best, right? When there's someone your same size, you feel like I can finally train with someone.
only later on, I had like two guys that were about my size. Still, I mean, there's still like one is like strong. Men are definitely stronger, even in same weight as me. Another one was my height, but of course he was a different weight class. So, but then still having that helped a lot, and I feel like I was very lucky in a sense that despite me being like gender wise, I was the only girl, I was very much taken care of and very well respected in a sense that I was training, I was there to train. That was it. And they would teach me, they would guide me, even though I knew nothing. I knew nothing of MMA because I was only doing jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai before I joined MMA, and I knew nothing about wrestling. I didn't know how to wrestle. I didn't know how to do cage wrestling. I didn't know how to do ground and pound. I didn't know how to do so many things. And they were patient. My coaches were patient as well. They they taught me everything slowly. Whenever I couldn't get something right, they were patient. They're like, no, this is not how you do it. You do it this way. And when I was training as well, they would show me like multiple scenarios because they realized that, okay, this technique might not work for her because she's so small. That if she's trying to do it on us, it's going to be very difficult. And they would teach me, like, okay, why don't you try this way? Why don't you try that way? But I feel also it helped me focus so much more on my technique because I'm going against bigger guys. Strength does not apply anymore. Strength is nothing. Like your technique has to be perfect. And I'm still working towards it, but it made me realize that, okay, you need to let go of your ego too, because I'm very competitive. So
I
after
feel you.
and I had to tell myself, my coaches had to remind me, like, you have to realize that you are the smallest person here. Accept that fact. You will struggle, but stop getting frustrated, because I have still the mindset of being a perfectionist. I want everything. I want to do good in everything. So I had to let go and learn how to let go of the ego and say, like, they are bigger than me. It is okay if I fail. If I fail, I just try again and try again. And I feel like it gave me that resilience. It built that resilience inside me, that it's okay to fail. It's okay to shoot like 20 shots, still get 20 shots, and have them defend every single one of them, and then still try again. So I feel like even that really built that same thing to go into a fight where I wasn't scared anymore, because I was training with men so much stronger and bigger than me that when I fought, I wasn't scared. And I was so used to basically failing every time. Like, if I would take a shot, I would fail when I do so many things. But I never gave up. So when in a fight, I kind of have that same mindset where, oh my goodness, this is not going the way I planned. Why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? I can just tell myself, hey, you've been in this situation before. You've been in worse situations than this. All you need to do is keep trying, find a different way, and it's gonna work. And I've there's so many times in a fight where having that mindset was like really game changer for me, because I remember being in Bushido last year, Bushido SGX in Singapore for a jiu-jitsu tournament. I was completely alone. I had no teammates. I traveled there by myself just to compete as a blue belt, and I was facing one of my, well, now she's my friend, Lani.
And Olani, oh, she's really good.
So I
But you beat her, right?
yeah, but the thing was, after that we became very good friends, and I'm looking forward to probably going to Bali to train with her just for fun. And that fight was really hard because her guard game was so good, and my top game was also like good. So she was using her strong suit with my strong suit, and every time she tried to move me and submit me, it didn't work because I was trying to defend everything. And when I tried to take her down or get points, her guard game was so good I couldn't pass. So it was like a standstill for the entire time. And I was like, oh my goodness, I need to do something. I need to do something, because in the end, she got me with a near submission and I got out. So she had one advantage. And I was just going like, I did not travel all the way here just to lose in my first or second fight. I was like, no, I did not come all the way here just to do this. And I think that was built from all that training with the guys. And I was just like looking at timer. I was like, I have 30 to 30 seconds left. I need to score a point. I need to score something. So we got stood back up, and I just went like, you know what? I'm just gonna try. I know I've been failing the entire, but I'm just gonna try. And I just went for it. I shot a double, secured a position, and got 2 points, and just won in the last 20 seconds, just like that. And
In the last 20 seconds?
uh, I,
Well done!
so but
Oh.
I had a thought in my mind that literally went like, that's it, I'm screwed. I'm gonna leave. And I was looking at time going like, then after I was in a very bad position as well. And I was like, no. I scrambled my way. I was just flailing, scrambling my way out, and then I just shot. And I think I feel like that was because of all that training. Because if I had given in to that self doubt, I would have lost and I wouldn't have come home with a medal. So I think like it's really good. Like, don't get me wrong, for girls to train with guys is not going to be easy, because you really need to learn how to let go of that ego. That pride, that ego, you have to let it go, because no matter what, how good you are, a man can just literally use his pure strength, and it will seem like you are all your hard work of all the years will be like going down the drain. Yeah,
I
but that's
know.
just accept the fact, like, hey, It's okay, but I'm just gonna find a way. But I feel like once you accept the fact that I need to find a different way and different approach, it gets better. Because I feel like when I'm calm and I'm telling myself, it's okay, let's just try to get out of situation. The situation turns around for me, and I'm like, okay, I'm back here. Let me reset and try again, and it becomes more fun. I feel like it's more. I learned to have fun, literally. It's very weird, but I literally learned to have fun because I realized when I was having fun in fighters training, I learned more. Yes, I was laughing, I was joking a lot, but I learned so much more than if I was frustrated all the time. So I feel like that was a good thing that I learned a lot.
And it's always like, don't they always say like don't fight angry because it never works.
Yes.
Like I don't know. Yeah, for me as well, when I kind of roll, like when I'm in a calmer state, like I feel like I can roll better compared to when I'm like, I just want to beat that person and like but when you're calm and like, you kind of like think like a few steps ahead and you're just like, okay, how can I get out of this? I'm in a lock. Okay, be calm. And like you'll learn how to defend rather than like, just crumbling out and you kind of think better. Yeah. And I mean, like, I can totally get you because sometimes, like, being the only girl in training is super hard. Like you don't have people your size to train with, and it kind of gives you that anxiety where you don't know how to roll people your size. I don't know if you feel that way. But yeah, I mean, I can understand where you're coming from as well.
Yeah,
right?
It's very different when you're so used to training with bigger people that when I throw punches, it's like I go slightly upwards unknowingly because they're taller than me. So, I think for me, it's mostly my striking. That striking in MMA, that's where mostly I'm around guys. Because my jiu-jitsu, we have so many girls, so that's not an issue. Yeah, it's just like, when it comes to it, that's just like, ugh. And then I'm like, when I'm shadow boxing, I don't realize it, but I actually go slightly up towards my focal point. My eyes are here, but I'm going here because I'm so used to punching slightly higher that I'm unknowingly do that. But I feel like I got quite lucky because competing in international competitions, most girls my size were taller than me. Yeah, so I was like, I got so
That's
used.
good then.
Yeah,
You're used to it.
I was so used to facing taller people, bigger people that when I went for international competitions, like in the IMMAF, I was like, oh, okay, it's not like I've never been here before. It was when when I had to fight someone my size. That was when it was a bit strange because I was like, we have the exact same reach, and yeah, it's the same height or shorter than me. And I'm just like, whoa, this feels very weird. But when the person is taller than me, now I'm like, oh, okay, I know what to do now.
Yeah, and yeah, because like it's so hard to find training partners that is the same size as you and the same height, and then you kind of have to like like improvise and yeah, like. But speaking of competitions, right? How do you deal with competition stress, and how is your competition prep? Do you mind sharing with us?
Sure. For me, I've been competing since I was a kid. Not like in different sports. So I've always been competing since I was a kid. Like I used to compete in basketball for about 6 years, 7 years of my life. So competition wasn't something new to me. I was competing in sponsored races. I was competing in road racing, trail running, all these things, and then of course now MMA and jiu-jitsu. And one thing I've learned over the years, especially when I really got into my Spartan years and obstacle racing, was that I would listen to music. That was something that would calm me down but hype me up at the same time. And of course, like I do get nervous so much, so nervous before any like last time any race. Now before any fight, I still get nervous too. But I learned how to kind of control it. I feel like you don't really stop being nervous. It's just that you learn how to control it so much better. But I feel like now the best way to kind of for me to kind of get rid of all that stress and nervousness was
Yeah, it's a lot of stress.
was that I would talk to my corner. So my coaches in my corner, I would literally before a fight, I was after so many fights, I think last World Championships, this is what I started doing, and I realized it worked. Listening to music, having a game plan. So we warm up, you sleep, whatever it is. So I just had a dot 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 dot. Do this, A B C D E, and it helped a lot because it was do this, now do this, now do this, and I had someone telling me what to do. So having that, it was so much easier and lighter on me because my coach was just saying, "Let's warm up." I'm like, okay, okay, now I want you to take a nap. Took a nap. Okay, wake up. All right, let's do this. So I had someone telling me what to do. When you have that, your stress just diminishes by so much because you don't need to think, what should I do? What do I need to do? How much do? And that was one thing I felt like I really needed. Just my coaches telling me like, do this, do this, do this. And another thing was just like literally word vomit. Before my fight, I just word vomited. Whatever it was in my mind. Like I just told my coach everything. And I remember having Coco in my corner in the World Championships. And before the fight, he was looking at me. And I just told him everything. I was just kind of like, I feel like this, I feel like this, I feel like this. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about this. What if this happens? And all this. And I just straight up told every single thing. I said everything in my mind. I told him everything, and then he told me, this is your game plan. You do this, you do this. No matter what, keep your hands up. We're gonna follow this game plan. If she does this, you do this. If she does this, you do that. And after that, I felt so much better. I felt so much calmer that by the time I stepped into the cage, it was like completely serene, completely calm, and I was just ready. Like waiting there, I was nervous, and then coming out of the tunnel, I was just screaming, and I was just like, okay, I'm ready now. Going to that cage, I was just like ready, and I feel like for MMA we're lucky because we get rounds in between, so you still get that nervousness. Like sometimes the first round is where you kind of get rid of all that, and I apply the same thing in between my fights. Because we have 1 minute break, the first 20 to 30 seconds is me talking to my coach. Is me telling my coach, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing she's doing this, but I'm not sure what to do. I don't know how to get out of this situation. I think I should do this. I think I should do that. And the first 20 to 30 seconds of the break, I'm speaking. I'm speaking like a bullet train because I only know I have 1 minute. So I'm just telling him everything. I'm like, okay, there's a part of my body that I think like I'm not moving fast enough. I'll just say everything. In the next 30 to 40 seconds, and he'll be telling me, okay, this is what I see. This is what you need to do. This is what you have to do. And the next is just me absorbing information because I feel like when you have so many things in your mind, you can't absorb that the information, and it's so important in that 1 minute when you fight because that 1 minute could change your entire perception of the fight, could change how you react in the next round, and it could give you a 10-9 win or a 10-8 win for that round. And having that, like I realized that it helps so much. Like if you watch any of my fights, you could basically see me talking to my coach in between rounds, just going like, I'm literally having a discussion with him. Like this is what I see, and it helped so much because once everything was out of my mind, it was easy for me to absorb everything. That when the second round started, even though I didn't consciously remember what he told me, my body already knew what to do because my body heard what he told me to do and it reacted towards it. So like for me, this is kind of like what really like helped me so much, that I feel like a lot of fighters, they're too shy to share what that's going through their mind during the fight because they think I need to be strong, I need to do this and all that. But honestly, sometimes just saying everything, it helps so much. Just saying like, even if you're saying like, I remember once telling my coach, I think it was my Sanda kickboxing. I remember going into the corner, going like, "Am I doing something wrong?" I straight up just asked him. It's like, "Am I doing something wrong? Is something what is it that I'm missing here?" And I straight up asked him. He told me, and he just straight up told me, you're not doing anything wrong. You just need to do this. You just need to do that." And the next round, I went in and I was like, "Okay, I'm ready. Let's do it again." Uh, I guess like that's for me, but I know there's a lot of people with different, is it different ways of coping with it as well. I know some people, they prefer staying silent and all that, but for me, this is just kind of like how I kind of work through it during a fight, before a fight, and all that. Like music is really like a key thing for me as well. Like I cannot, if before a fight I have to have my headphones in, listening to music until before the fight. I will like literally pass my phone to my coach, going like, "Okay, I'm good now." Until
To get in the zone.
I'm forced until the last second when they're like, "You need to walk out now," and then I'm like, "Here's my phone."
That's the last thing, right? You need to get in the zone, and you're just in that zone. You're like, okay, I can't talk to anyone right now until I get into the match. And now here's my phone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that tip, because I think it's very, very hard, especially during a competition, you know, that mental state. And, you know, you have so many things going around, you know, your family members, the crowd, your competitor. There's so much going on. And a lot of people struggle with that mental state. Like they can't listen to their coach sometimes because, you know, there's so much going on, right?
Yeah.
And you have your nerves as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think listening to your coach is key, definitely, because, like, they can see things that you can't see.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure. For me, I think
Yeah.
like one thing is that if anybody who competes, you need to learn how to recognize your coach's voice in the crowd. Like you learn it over time. I think you definitely did too. Like you learn it over time where I could hear people screaming in the crowd, but yes, I could hear people screaming in the crowd, but it was background noise. The only voice I heard was my corner. Like I could tune out everything else and just hear, like in my jiu-jitsu competition, I could tune everything out and just hear Professor Bruno saying something. And even though everyone else is screaming things, I just hear his voice and I'm like, okay, this is what you need to do. You only need to follow his voice. It's the same with any of my fights. Like if I had Coco in the corner, yes, it's loud. There's an audience watching and everything like that. But his voice is the first thing I hear. Anything he says, I can hear immediately. So I feel like another thing is people have to learn how to have that little tune button that's like tune out everything else and only recognize that one voice. You only need to hear one voice, and that's the voice that's gonna get you to win the fight.
And that takes a lot of trust as well, because sometimes, like, you know, you think you have it, but you can't see it, and you need to trust your coach, like the audience and stuff like that, right? Totally get you.
That's so true. I feel like a lot of people go to compete and they still doubt their coaches because when a coach says do this, they just freeze for 2 seconds, and that 2 seconds could lose you the fight. Whereas if you really like fully really trust them, the minute they said something, you would do it. Like I feel like it saved my butt so many times just because of that. Where I was in such a bad situation, I was so confused. I didn't know what to do. I remember competing as a white belt in jiu-jitsu. I was just going like, what do I do now? She's defending my triangles. She's defending my guard. What do I do? I'm having her in my guard. And I'm like, in my brain going like, what do I do now? And then I just hear Professor say, do this. And I just did it. I said, now do this. And I was just moving. And I managed to get the points and everything like that. And I realized like if I had stopped for a split second and doubted him, she would have probably escaped and I wouldn't have had the chance to win the fight. Like really, you really have to just trust, especially in MMA, it's no joke when you get punched in the face. That few seconds could of doubt could maybe cause you a knockout. Like you getting knocked out or knocked off your feet. Just having the are you sure? Like you can't have
doubt.
yeah, you can't have that doubt. It's your coach saying do this, you immediately do it. Oh, you just struggle to do it, but at least you're doing something. And when you do that, your coach can see that okay, what is the situation now, and they can tell you other things to do too. Like really, what you say is so true. You really have to trust your corner. This is why I say like people's corner is so important. Like a lot of fighters, you have to have that right person in your corner. This is why I'm so picky on who is in my corner. I cannot have just anybody. If when I go for jiu-jitsu competitions, I have like, okay, if the professor is busy, I will have this person as my corner, and I pre-plan everything. I'm like, okay, if professor is busy, can you come and corner me? And I have that because I trust this person. So I will listen to that person. If I had someone else that just came and tried to corner me, like I appreciate it, but I wouldn't fully trust that person. And I'll just be like, are you sure? And I might end up doing something that I I think is better. I could be, but I could be wrong too. So for me, that's what it is. Like even MMA as well. That's why I always have my brother there whenever I can because I know like if he says something, I trust him with my life. Like I do not joke around with him. If he's telling me put your hands up or throw combos or whatever it is, and that was what he was saying when I was competing in Bangkok because I was only had Professor Bruno, and no striking coach. And my brother was there. I had no striking coach. My brother was there, and he was telling me, "Put your hands up. Do this. Do that. Watch out for this. Watch out for that." And I didn't even think twice. I just listened to everything he said. So
Yeah, and I think about corners is that they really need to know your game. That's the only way you can trust someone. Because if they don't know your game, they ask you to do, let's just say your game is not a rubber guard. And then they ask you to do rubber guard. It doesn't make sense because it's not your game. And it just goes all wrong because you're just not, like, it's just not your game, right? Totally get where you're coming from. And okay, so now during this COVID-19, you know, like we can't go to the gym and we don't have a Spartan, which really sucks. But how do you I really don't know, man. But like how do you train? I mean, I heard you have like an obstacle in your backyard. Like how do you train during this COVID-19?
During before like gyms now unlike now starting to open, but before then I was literally just training in my front porch. I have a punching bag, I have some rings, some dumbbells, a sandbag, and I just use everything, all that to train. I have elastic bands too. So
Okay.
I have TRX, I have a pull-up bar, and that's just what I used to train. I just use a lot of body weight, weights there, everything like that. That I just basically used whatever I could, and we had. I mean, you could still do drills, so it wasn't like solo drills. Like Professor Bruno was releasing all this footage up to his YouTube, like how to do solo drills back home during this COVID-19. So having that, you had like something to kind of work on too, and then Coco was doing like live streams of workouts and Muay Thai classes and stuff like that too. So we could actually kind of like follow and just do it at home. That was basically mostly what I was doing, just staying at home, going out to the front porch, and just working out and doing my. For me, I think I ended up changing my mindset to um, of course needing to stay fit, but it was mostly that I needed this is the perfect time for me to do all the things I've been lazy to do, which was my rehabilitation. Because I have a lot of injuries. So I have a lot of rehabilitation exercises that I was supposed to do consistently, but I wasn't doing it consistently, so my recovery process wasn't as fast as I hoped it would be. So I had a lot of pains here and there, and a lot of imbalances in my body. So I kind of just went like, okay, you have all the equipment at home. Time for you to focus on rebalancing your body, following like rehabilitating your body. You know, I kind of told myself, you know what is your issue. You have an imbalance in this part of your body, and this is going to affect you in your fight. So for 3 months, I was just focusing on, okay, this part hurts. I need to build my hamstrings. I need to build my glutes because the weak parts of that is what causing my knee pain, and my knee pain is causing me not being able to do wrestling and jiu-jitsu properly. So it was just me just going like, okay, every day rehab, 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 doing all the boring exercises every day, just doing that rehabilitation. And of course, sometimes I get I kind of also like do like how do you say, like virtual one-on-one training with my
Oh,
friend.
cool.
Yeah, so like we would train together, and he would lift his weights, I would lift mine, and we would kind of work out together like that. So it is a
Cool.
bit, and I think like that was me the entire. I rarely left the house. I was just front porch, come back in, front porch, come back,
You have your own mini gym already.
study, and then go out to the front porch again. I think having the punching
So
bag.
bad.
Like,
Sorry?
I have a punching bag that my dad set up for me, so I can work my kicks wherever it is whenever I needed to.
So like with all your training equipment and all your training, I think if you were to go for competition, you're kind of trained
No,
yourself the whole MC already, right?
no.
No?
No.
I mean, at least you're still getting fit and you're still like, getting in a groove.
It was more of the, like, I would even sprint in front of my house because I stay in
Okay.
a close neighborhood, so I could sprint up the small street in my house and no one would bother me. And it was just more of the, I'm gonna keep myself strong and ready and fit so that when training starts again, I won't go back and just be like I'm dying. It'll just be like, okay, I'm rusty, technique wise and everything, I'm rusty, but my fitness is there that I can push just the same as last time. So it was just more of the, let me maintain this so that when I go back, I can learn again. Because it's easier to learn again, but imagine you have to learn again and also
And
go
then
back.
be unfit.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much.
Totally get you, man. Like that day I was training with a few people, like with Abang. Like, oh my god, I couldn't even do like an armbar. I was just like, it feels so awkward. Like, what the hell am I doing? And that's just like basics, and like it's so rusty, man. Like,
Yes, yes. I was straight like when the gym started opening up stuff. I have like one friend that I only train with him. So like,
okay,
I don't wanna be with too many people. So I only train with him. Like he was my training partner because he's my size. So I was like, okay, it's perfect. And it was like, okay, what drills do you want to do? And I was like, let's do all the basic drills because we were drilling MMA wrestling. It's like, okay, you know what? Today let's do jiu-jitsu. I want to work my drills and all that. And we were like, let's do armbar from God. My brain, I was like, if
I know.
the blue belt could see me now, he would strip me off the blue belt. I was like, and my friend was a white belt, I'm a blue belt, and I'm just like, okay, let's do armbar from God. I held his hand and I held his arm and I went like, wait, what do I do now? And I just felt like, oh my goodness. I can't believe, and I was like, this feels very like I'm getting the armbar, but I feel like there is an extra move that I'm missing. Just like, and then we did armbar from mount. That was easy to do. It wasn't that hard to remember. Armbar from guard. We did triangle from guard. Triangle from I think we did triangle from mount too as well, and we did we did rubber guard just to practice because I like playing it. So just practice rubber guard and all that. But it was like, yeah, I feel you. It was so rusty. I was just going like, I can't believe I forgot how to do. And then we were like, okay, let's drill how to get out of a situation in MMA where someone's in your guard. You don't want to be on your back in MMA because you can get punched in the face, even if that person's in your guard. And technically in jiu-jitsu, that's a dominant place. In MMA, you don't want to be there. So we were like, let's drill Z guard to stand up. And I remember us going like, I remember you need to have an overhand and then move this way and then stand up. And for 2 minutes, we were trying to figure out what was the correct way of doing it.
Totally feel you, man. Like, I was like, at one point, I was like, can you just take my belt away? Like, oh my god, I don't deserve this. It's like you just feel so rusty, right? But I think, I think it takes a while because it's like muscle memory as well.
Mm-hmm. I feel like when you get into the group, like,
Totally feel you. Okay, so I have a very, very interesting question.
Mhm.
You are a vegan, and like for athletes, it's your diet is your nutrition has to be at optimal levels. And you talk about recovery and stuff. So what's your diet like, and what inspired you to be a vegan?
My diet is mostly just like plant-based. So everything,
Plant-based?
like just goes from the ground. But don't get me wrong, though, I'm still like I have my moments where I want a pizza. So I have vegan pizza. But I'm just like I have
What pizza?
vegan pizza.
From where?
Um, I've had one from. It's very rare, but because it's hard to find. So my plant deli, they have frozen vegan pizzas that you just need to kind of stick it in the oven. Um, it's a local brand, like a homemade thing. So the thing with me is that I'm very picky, even with my junk food. So if I want to have a burger, or if I want to have ice cream, or if I want to have all these things, I still do it. Like of course off season I'm a bit less, like I still eat my plant-based food and everything, but also I have like my little indulgences and stuff like that. But I'm still very picky, that I have to make sure that the junk food is also natural. Like
But yeah, your version of like junk food, I bet it's like super healthy, right?
not exactly, but like in the fight camp when you crave these things, like you get the healthier alternative. Like if I'm craving something sweet, I'll get a smoothie bowl. So you're still kind of eating, but on a regular basis, like if I want some junk food, like ice cream, like if I want ice cream, I'll go to my favorite place is Kind Cones because their ingredients are 100% natural. There's no chemicals. There's none of that bad elements in a sense. Like all the chemical stuff and everything is like literally 100% natural because it's like I wanna indulge, but
Of course.
don't want to harm my body because my body has gone through because I was on such a strict diet for myself, which was actually quite bad. That my body kind of reset itself to the point that if I have processed sugar, especially too much of it, like you know when you have ice cream, that's a lot. So like having that, I'd have a stomach ache. So I get like bloated and all that very easily, digestion issues. So I realized over time that my body is changing a lot and that I really needed to watch what I put in my body because what I ate, my body reacted immediately. It was so sensitive now because I was like a vegan. I'm a vegan for 3 years, and I was like eating like really healthy. Like I stopped the junk food and all that. That when I went back to it just to like enjoy it, I was like, okay, wow, my body really changed so much. I cannot be eating the way I used to eat anymore. Like, okay, I used to be able to eat like fried foods, and like I do crave my French fries as well. Like, I mean, I grew up as a kid eating French fries, so sometimes yeah, I want it too, and but I couldn't really eat the ones in the sense from like fast food joints and stuff because I realized that my body when there's too much oil in my food, like it's really oily, I get stomach ache as well. Yeah, so
Even McDonald's fries?
I've not yet
McDonald's fries?
I've not yet to eat McDonald's fries for a very long time, so I do not know. But in general, like I realized that if I want to eat junk food, like I want my cravings, my burger, and all that, I need to do it, but I also need to do it very smart because I figured there is no chance I'd indulge and then I get a stomach ache and I feel like complete crap afterwards. Because that's not the whole point of having junk food. Junk food is just to like, yay, let me have something a little bit for a while. So I have like so if I'm very picky with my junk food. So like ice cream, I go to Kind Cones because it's all natural. If I want cake, I go to very rarely want cake. If I want cake, I go to Kind Codes, I go to Alan Fortunate Coffee. If I want like I have my set places to go, like RGB coffee as well. And if I want like a burger, I know where to have it so that I even afterwards it's not oily, it's not anything. I feel actually okay afterwards. If I want a pizza, I get something from my plant deli and then I make it myself. So um, that's why I kind of say like I'm picky, but also because I have a sweet tooth growing up. Before I found out about all these places and stuff, I learned how to bake so that I could eat it without having issues while I have my sweet tooth. So I actually picked up baking because I want to eat my sweet stuff, but also not screw up my body. So I learned it myself. Like, I want like a chocolate cupcake or something like that. You go outside, you buy vegan chocolate cupcake. It's gonna be full of sugar or something. You never know. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'll learn how to bake it myself. Make it a bit healthier. I choose my ingredients and all that. And that's what I did. So I started baking and I was just eating my own baking. And the ingredients I used was like, okay. And I guess for like becoming a vegan, it's like, it was a long process in the sense that I was already thinking about it for nearly a year before I actually did it. It was because I am the kind of person who kind of like begin with the end in mind. So I think of every single scenario before I make a decision. So I was basically grabbing all the knowledge I could get. I was learning from my vegan friends. I was learning, like researching, like what is this, why is it, and it because it resonated with me. Like I can't for the life of me, I really cannot kill animals. Like I didn't have it in me. I knew because I had the opportunity once to kill a chicken and I couldn't. I couldn't do it. So I was like, if I can't do it, why am I paying other people to do it? And it made so much sense. And I was so much about taking care of the environment and everything like that. It was like a three in one. It was essentially being a vegan was like a three in one. I caused less suffering. That's what I've always wanted. It's more of love and compassion when you show. It's a way of showing love and compassion to animals, to everybody, everything in the world. Because vegan is not only about animals; it's like fair trade too, where you choose to have these people who are being used under all these bad conditions too. Like, don't get me wrong, it's expensive. Sometimes you really can't do it, and you just try your best basically. And then of course the environmental impact. Just because I choose to eat this, I I kind of like hit two birds with one stone. Everything is three in one. I help the environment, and I help environment getting better. The fishes in the sea, everything gets better as well. Just because I choose to have this, I cause all. It's like I mean, all I need to do was to eat like this the rest of my life, and this was the huge impact. So like, yeah, most people would kind of say like, I'm only one person, but do you realize how many meals you have in your entire lifetime? In total. And in that total, you actually do make a huge difference into the industry. Yes, monopoly wise and industrial wise, you're just one person. But if each person did that, it's gonna disrupt the entire industry. It's gonna disrupt the entire all these things. And it was just like there's no cons to this. I'm like pros and cons. It's like there are no cons. The only thing was that I needed to figure out what I needed to eat, what I needed to do with my body and everything like that, like nutrition wise as an athlete. And that was like a very minor issue because I'm blessed that I can seek out nutrients that I need that I might not be able to get thanks to my parents, thanks to information and all that. So it was like a choice that made complete sense. It was more of a I kind of went into because I had people say like, oh, you can't be a vegan and you can't fight. How are you gonna be strong if you're plant based and all that sort of stuff? And I remember seeing something. I was discussing with my friends when I was in Thailand with them too, and that really got me onto it too. And I remember seeing this quote like, if you look at the biggest dinosaurs or the biggest animals on the planet right now, they all eat plants. If you talk about people using the simile as strong as a ox, what do oxes eat? Do they eat meat? No, they eat plants. You look at elephants; they don't eat meat. They eat leaves. They eat grass. They eat, and it was like because it was a vegan quote, but I was looking at it going like, that is so true. The biggest dinosaurs that they have found was a Bronchiosaurus, and he ate leaves. He ate leaves for the whole of his life, and I was just like, okay, you know what? I don't know what I'm gonna be lacking from this, like nutritional wise, like how it's gonna affect my body. But I felt like it was the right thing to do. So when I did it, I had a huge learning curve. I was trying to figure out how my body was feeling, what I needed to put in my body, and everything like that. And I figured I had this thought in my mind that if I do what is right and I follow my gut feeling, everything will fall into place. Like everything is going to fall into place. Yes, I've been told that I cannot be a vegan and be strong and fight MMA, but I felt like if I think about I want to be successful in MMA and then neglect all these things that I I feel is like this is the right thing to do, I wouldn't be happy with myself. So I figured go with the gut feeling, do it, and everything will fall into place. And I feel like that's been happening. Like everything's been falling into place. Like I feel so much stronger. I feel so much better. I feel so much more agile and everything like that. That when even in the beginning, when some of my teammates were like, you can't be a vegan and like go fully plant based and do this because I think at the time the only person that was kind of plant based was Shem, and he was a pescatarian, so he ate fish too. So it wasn't like a huge thing, but I was going like full on plats, plats all the way. And they were like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Because you're already so small. Like, do you really want to do this?" And I remember just saying to them, like, "You watch, just watch." I remember like just thinking and saying to myself, like, "You watch in the next 5 to 10 years. I will make it in MMA, and I will be strong, and I will eat complete plants and only plants." I was like, and then later on, I found out about Nate Diaz, and I was just going like, like
There you go.
okay, and I really was like, so I didn't know as well. I remember, I think, I didn't, because I didn't follow UFC religiously until I started fighting myself. Then I started to really love watching fights. And I remember I think someone sent it to me. I don't know, was it Sham or another one of my friends sent it to me. And I was like, in one of the videos was him talking back to someone who was like a because he's a vegan and he was at a press conference and someone was calling him shit and stuff like someone from the audience, the usual thing in UFC, you see this. And he stood up and was like not defending, like saying why he was a vegan and all that. And they were like berating him and stuff like that, like, "Oh, you eat plants, you're not a man," and all that. And I think he said something along the lines of, "You can say that, but I have like how many wins under my belt and all that sort of stuff." Like he said something, I can't remember the exact, but he said something, and I was just going like, "He's,"
Hmm.
and I was like, "He's a vegan?" And I was just so shocked, and I was just like, and he is like one of the top contenders in the UFC. He's been in the UFC for nearly 10, 15 years, and he's still up there. And I was just like, wow, okay. I was like, he can do it. I can do this too. So it was like I knew I was on the right path sort of thing. Like I knew what I was doing was the right thing to do. And I knew that having seeing him there with that status in MMA and still like killing everyone, like really putting on the fight. His fights are the most bloodiest, but it is so beautiful to watch too. And I'm like, okay, I want to be like that.
That's so cool, and it's so inspiring as well. I mean, thank you very much for sharing your journey of becoming a vegan, because I mean, not a lot of people can do it, because even for me, I tried to be a pescatarian. It was so hard for me. But like your story really inspired me, because they always have that view, like, you won't be strong if you just eat
Yes,
plant-based food. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
hearing your
But
story really inspires me.
I mean, I exactly like I think one of the best quotes while I was writing my speech, I came across a quote, and it was by this strongman. Like strongman is like, you know, the sport strongman where they lift like cars and stuff like that. So there is a guy who is a vegan, fully vegan, and he's a strongman. He is massive. He is massive, massive, and I think like he's one of the top in the world. I think he won the strongman or something like that. I didn't even know he was vegan. I remember watching Game Changers and they featured him, and I went to do some research. And one of the things he said was that, um, how can you be as strong as an ox and not eat meat? And he was like, and he said to them and during the interview, it was like, have you ever seen an ox eat meat? And he said,
I
like,
huh.
that's actually a very good point. Like that
Yeah.
thing that really stuck to me. Like I watched the entire thing and I was just like, so now like whenever someone asks me, I was like, that's the first quote now that comes into my mind. And I was just like, that makes so much sense. Like people are saying all these things, but then they don't realize what they're actually saying. And I feel like a lot of people have a lot of misconception of veganism where they say like, oh, what about the indigenous people, the poor people that cannot afford to be vegan because they think being vegan is expensive. And my thing to them is, if you have a choice, do it. If you don't have a choice, what is gonna stop you? Because veganism is about just making a choice, a better choice. And if you are in that range or that part of your life, and you have the ability to make a choice, it's just that you choose not to. Is you choose not to, then it just means that you don't want to do it. But when you're talking about people in like in the poorer regions where they don't have a choice, they don't have a choice. Whatever they can eat, they will just eat. That there is nothing wrong with that because do they have a choice? No, they eat to survive. Whereas there's a lot of us that have that choice. It's just we choose not to. So I think is that kind of thing that I think like a lot of people have that misconception going like, oh, and like, oh, you, how can you do this? What about this? What about the people in the tribes? They kill animals for meat and all that. And I'm like, yeah, what is wrong with that? Because they kill them to survive and eat. Do they industrialize them and use them for to make money? Do they use these animals and keep them in harsh conditions just to feed you? No, they go out, they hunt, they kill, and they eat with their family. Then they use every part of the animal and all that they eat to survive. Whereas, do we need meat to survive at this point in our lives? They need that because because they're living in the jungle. But do we need that? Do we need to eat meat to survive? Can we go without meat to survive? And another thing is the weirdest question I always get: do you get enough protein? I've never heard of someone who has had protein deficiency ever. And the weirdest part to me was um, you wouldn't ask someone who ate junk food every day. Like I know college students who eat Maggie mee every day, junk food every day because the cheapest thing and all that. But has anyone once asked them, "Do you get enough protein?" No, but they would ask a vegan, "Do you get enough protein?" when all we do is eat natural foods. And I'm just like, that logic. You wouldn't ask someone who eats Maggie every day if they get enough protein. So you're asking someone who eats things that grow from the ground if they get enough protein. I eat food from Mother Nature. That's chemical food. And one who's lacking protein? Like what?
It's very frustrating, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, thank you very much for sharing with us on this as well. I mean, I think I learned a lot today, and so will the viewers. And I think it's really good education as well. So thank you very much. So before we let you go, I have one last question. So you have a big following as well. If you had one piece of advice, yes, you do. So if you had one piece of advice that you would like to share to your Malaysian fans, what would it be?
I would say like don't ever let anyone stop you from pursuing your dreams or your passions. Like if and don't let society tell you not to do something. Like in the sense where when it comes to hard drugs and stuff, like yes, don't do it. But when it comes to your passion, your dreams, even if it goes against whatever society has told us, like how if a boy wants to pick up ballet and he wants to become a professional ballet dancer, if that's what you want to do, then do it. If you want to be a makeup artist, Like, and you're a man, just do it, because that's what you want to do. A female, if you want to pursue, um, like if you want to pursue dance, you want to pursue motorsports, you want to pursue like things that seem like it's a male dominant sport, just go for it. Even society says that um, why it's not feminine, but what is wrong with not being feminine? Like, is that an issue? And of course, like, go, just reach out and try new things. Honestly, don't let anybody stop you, man or woman. Don't let anybody stop you because of what culture you grew up in. But if it's your passion, like, there is no harm trying. And another thing I would say is, don't be afraid to fail for your passion, because you will regret the rest of your life not trying at all, rather than if you try, you fail, and you realize that you fail, you would at least live your life knowing I tried, and not a what if. Like, I think that's my message. Like, just do what you want to do, what you're passionate about. Do it for yourself, because it's your life. Like, we are Asians, we respect our elders. We do respect your elders, but also realize that it's your life, it's your own life. Do you want to be on your deathbed saying, "What if? Why didn't I do this?" No, live your life to the fullest, and don't let anybody stop you.
Thank you so much for that. You really inspired me and all the viewers. We really, really appreciate it. And thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who would like to find her on Instagram, you can always find her on Colleen Augustin MMA, or you can even check her YouTube page. She has some tutorials going around. So for you Spartan fans as well, there's a lot of stuff up there, so you should definitely check it out. And thank you very much for tuning in to Huddle Stories. We appreciate your time in joining us here today. And you can always follow us on our social media at Huddle World on Instagram, Facebook, as well as YouTube. So stay tuned for the next episode and hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you too.